Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, House members are preparing to meet to begin the impeachment process for President Trump. It will be the first time an American president has ever faced impeachment twice. We'll tell you how things are expected to go today. Plus, positive news on the coronavirus front across California as hospitalizations statewide begin to decline. Doctors think we may be nearing the end of the post-holiday surge. And new rules concerning who can get the vaccine next. We'll tell you who's included on this Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. Good morning. It's 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen, anchoring from here at home this morning to Hatchby, and Alex Fisher's in studio. Another chilly start here in the mountains.
Yeah, it is a chilly start here on the valley floor as well. Let's turn things over to Kevin Charette, who has a look at our forecast. And Kev, earlier in the week we saw some fog. We saw some pretty dense fog, especially over the weekend and into the early part of this week. But not too bad outside right now, at least here in downtown Bakersfield.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much in terms of fog, Alex. There's no dense fog advisory in place. In fact, we have a little bit of cloud cover that's kind of banked up here in and around the Bakersfield area, but that should give way to mostly sunny skies as we go throughout the day. Take a look at our camera network right now, and you can see the fog is not a problem. Even looking into downtown Bakersfield, the 99 is clear, and Mohawk and Rosedale also good. As we take a look at our current visibility, you can see a little bit of that fog starting to form just north of the Kern County line, so we may see patchy fog, but I don't think it'll be widespread and dense. You can see our visibility index is looking pretty good. The only area where we're starting to see a deplete in the visibility is Merced. That's typical. They're down to 1 mile. We'll watch that carefully for you. And you can see here some clouds that kind of pushed in overnight, and that kind of helped us. And that'll push out of the area, and we'll be looking at mostly sunny skies today. 41 degrees to start, a northwest wind at 3 miles per hour. And take a look at the temperatures for today. Nice and mild. We'll be back into those 60s. And then for the mountains to Hatchby, currently at 36 under a calm wind. And hour by hour, we're looking at temperatures also very nice this afternoon, and then 60s. I'll have much more on your weather coming up in just a little bit. For now, back over to you guys.
All right, thanks, Kevin. It's a historic day. For the first time in U.S. history, an American president will face impeachment twice. And even some Republicans plan to vote against President Trump. Tracy Potts is on Capitol Hill with the process that's set to begin in just an hour.
Maddie, good morning. This morning we have the names of the Democrats who've been assigned to argue the case, to lead the charge for impeachment against President Trump. One was on the floor and making his argument late last night.
This president is not meeting the duties of office and is clearly not capable of it.
A late night edict from lawmakers.
The resolution is adopted,
urging Vice President Pence to use the 25th Amendment to remove President Trump.
They may be calling on the vice president, but based on his letter, he's not answering.
Pence's letter arriving before the debate was even over, saying removal is not in the best interest of our nation, opening the door for today's historic second impeachment, charging the president with inciting violence against the government of the United States. Last week's riot at the Capitol, the final vote could come by mid-afternoon.
it's really a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in the history of politics. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. People thought that what I said was totally appropriate.
At least 5 Republicans will join Democrats to impeach the president, including Wyoming's Liz Cheney.
Mr. Hirsch is the honoring oath of office.
The New York Times reports the Senate's top Republican, Mitch McConnell, now agrees the president committed impeachable offenses.
If he really means it, then he will join with Chuck Schumer. We will come back into session and we will have the trial.
This as Capitol Police deliver what one lawmaker called a chilling warning of violent threats against members of Congress. The Senate's top Democrat, Chuck Schumer, says everyone who was involved in the riot should be placed on the government's no-fly list. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
The New York Times is reporting that Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy has asked fellow House Republicans whether he should call on President Trump to resign in the aftermath of the Capitol siege. But the congressman disagrees with the report. The New York Times provided attribution for the story to 3 unnamed Republican officials briefed on the conversations. KGT has not been able to independently verify. In an interview with the Bakersfield Californian last night, McCarthy said the story's not true and noted he called the president on Monday telling Trump to stop this and move on. McCarthy added the president was receptive and listened deeply. We reached out to McCarthy for comment but did not hear back as of news time.
Your time now is 5:05 and 17 News is your local election headquarters. And this morning, Arvin has a new city council member. At last night's virtual meeting, council members appointed Arvin Union High School teacher Donnie Horton to fill a vacant seat. That seat was previously held by current Arvin Mayor Olivia Trujillo before she won her mayoral race in the November 2020 election. Horton was appointed by a 3-1 vote, with council member Jasmine Robles voting no. That term lasts until 2022. In your 17 Crime Watch, a teenager was taken into custody after leading police on a pursuit through southwest Bakersfield last night. Police say they came across a car reported stolen just before 8:30 last night on South H and Plans roads. That's when officers tried to pull over the car, but the driver sped off. At one point, the pursuit was called off because of the dangerously high speeds. After about 20 minutes, officers eventually found the car and the driver in a remote area south of Taft Highway. Police say the driver, an 18-year-old man, was taken into custody. A woman is dead after being hit by 2 cars in South Bakersfield. It happened at the intersection of Panama Lane and Betty Street just after 7 o'clock last night. BPD says the woman was crossing the road when a car described as a silver or white Mercedes hit her. Shortly afterward, a red Chevy Silverado hit her as well. Police say both drivers took off. The woman's identity has not been released. If you have any information, you're asked to call the police department at 327-7111.
Bakersfield police need your help tracking down 2 people they say broke into a local business. Police say this happened back on December 28th, and they say the people in these pictures forced their way into a business on California Avenue near Easton Drive, then took off with jewelry and electronics. One of the suspects was riding an all-black BMX-style bicycle. And Bakersfield police also need your help finding a man and woman who stole items from a vehicle. The theft happened on November 30th on Mount Vernon Avenue near Del Amo Way. Police say the man may have tattoos on his left arm or hand. If you've seen a suspect in either of these 2 burglary cases, police want to hear from you. You can call them at 327-7111. A Kcso drug trafficking force has arrested a man after seizing more than $1 million worth of drugs at a home in Oildale. Kcso says deputies with the task force searched a home on McCord Avenue near North Chester, where they found nearly 23 pounds of a hallucinogenic drug known as DMT, which is similar to LSD. Kcso said deputies also seized 3 pounds of psilocybin mushrooms, LSD tabs, vials, and 10 pounds of marijuana. Deputies also recovered a loaded firearm, money from drug sales, and small amounts of meth and cocaine. In total, the department seized more than $1 million worth of drugs. They arrested 42-year-old David Jackson, who Kcso says was maintaining the drug lab and living at the home with 2 children. The children were taken into Child Protective Services custody. And at that same task force made another drug arrest, this time in central Bakersfield. On Friday, narcotics detectives searched a home on Stockdale Highway near Real Road. There they found a pound of cocaine, more than 500 fentanyl pills, and more than 3 pounds of marijuana. The street value estimated at more than $58,000. Kcso arrested 28-year-old Justin Rowland for narcotics sales, child endangerment, and operating a nearby marijuana dispensary. Jennifer Esparza was also arrested for possession and child endangerment.
It has now been more than 3 weeks since 2 boys were reported missing in California City. 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Oren West were reported missing December 21st, and it has been 23 days and no sign of them. The adoptive family of Horn and Orson are offering a $30,000 reward in hopes of leading to information on the missing boys. Combined with prior offers from city officials and local businesses, the total reward is now $80,000. Anyone with information can call the California City Police Department at 760-373-8606 or the Secret Witness Line at 322-4040. Welcome back. Your time now is 5:19 and making news around the nation this morning. The United States has executed its first female inmate in more than 6 decades. Lisa Montgomery, the only woman on federal death row, died by lethal injection early this morning after the Supreme Court vacated several lower court rulings. She is the first female prisoner to be put to death by the U.S. government since 1953. Montgomery's attorney said her client's death by lethal injection was far from justice, as no other woman who had committed a similar crime faced the death penalty. In 2004, Montgomery drove from Kansas to Missouri, where she strangled a 23-year-old pregnant woman, cut the fetus from the womb, and tried to pass the surviving baby off as her own. A handful of protesters demonstrated outside the prison last night, calling for an end to executions. The man at the center of one of the most unforgettable images of last week's riot at the U.S. Capitol made his first court appearance yesterday. Arkansas resident Richard Barnett had one foot propped up on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's desk last Wednesday. The image quickly went viral, and it did not take long for him to be identified. The 60-year-old turned himself into the local sheriff's office last Friday. He faces several charges, including knowingly entering a restricted building with a weapon, violent entry, and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. Barnett faces up to 11 years and 6 months in jail and a $355,000 fine if convicted. Barnett remains jailed until a preliminary hearing is set for tomorrow.
Your time now is 5:20, and YouTube is the latest social media giant to take action against President Donald Trump. Last night, the company barred Trump's account from uploading new videos to its channel. YouTube is citing violations of its policies and, quote, concerns about the ongoing potential for violence as reasons for the suspension. YouTube also says it issued a strike against Trump's channel and said comments would be disabled indefinitely. The suspension is expected to last at least 7 days. On Friday, Twitter permanently suspended President Trump's account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Facebook banned him a day earlier.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
With combined multi-state lotto jackpots surging past $1 billion and lotto fever spreading, did you know there are some apps for that? Apps like Jackpot and MyDo Lotto let you play without having to go into a store to buy tickets. They also can help organize those office pools. But the apps aren't available everywhere. You must live in a state that allows digital lottery courier services. Jackpot operates in 9 states and Washington, D.C., while MyDo Lotto is currently available in 3 states. The apps offer consumer protections such as daily deposit and spend limits, self-exclusion, and an in-app access to responsible gaming resources. Post is making some of its most popular cereals bigger in a snack pack. Honeycomb Big Bites and Cocoa and Fruity Pebble Crisps. Post says the crisps are about the size of a potato chip with the classic flavor of cocoa and fruity pebbles. The Honeycomb Big Bites are about twice the size of the cereal and perfect for dipping. The release comes with Pebbles cereal's 50th anniversary this year. The new Post cereal snacks can be found in the cereal aisle at grocery stores nationwide beginning this month.
Well, these days it seems there is a national day of everything. And there's one coming up on Saturday, January 16th, that a lot of people are going to want to participate in. NBC's Dan Shinneman explains.
Gift cards. Everyone loves to receive them, but so often forgets about them.
I guess about 1.5 years ago, I was going through all some spring cleaning, and I'm not exaggerating, I came up with a stack of gift cards.
As a reminder, Tracy Tilson started National Use Your Gift Card Day, the 3rd Saturday in January.
So came up with the idea of just doing a national day to remember to use them, and it just made sense to do it after the holidays.
Just after the holidays is the perfect time to use gift cards, according to Sarah Skirball of Retail Me Not.
You can take advantage of all of the after Christmas sales and take advantage of those cash back offers. There are tons of retailers who are participating, and there's tons of different websites where you can take advantage of additional savings, like cash back, for example.
Skirball says more than $3 billion worth of gift cards go unused every year. She reminds consumers, don't wait too long.
Consumers need to remember that a lot of these gift cards do in fact have expiration dates.
Tracy Tilson has one more suggestion on National Use Your Gift Card Day.
Go out and treat yourself and do something special.
It's a day to give yourself a gift. Dan Shenneman, NBC News.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.